Andrew, can you talk a little bit about the scheduling? As they said, you guys, I think originally you were supposed to debut in the spring, then it was going to be in the summer, now it's going to be a June sneak peek before it moved to the fall. So can you talk about being part of the fall schedule?
Well, first off, for the first time in my career, we were actually bumped for hockey. So that was new. I'm thrilled, obviously. It's, I think, a nice vote of confidence for the show that, they looked at our show, and of course they went and they looked at the US shows that they're buying and thought, wow, Package Deal fits really nicely right in between How I Met Your Mother and Two Broke Girls. So, why put it on in the summer when, you got 2 weeks of good weather here in Toronto. Everybody's outside.
And then as a follow-up, with your experience in the States with sitcoms and now coming to Canada for one, do you think there's a difference in the audiences at all between the two countries?
The live audiences or the audience?
Viewing audience.
No, I don't think so. I think funny is funny, and obviously Canada has a terrific track record of good comedy. And so I don't think there's much difference in my opinion.
Since we haven't had a comedy shot in front of a live studio audience for a while in Canada, I was just wondering, for any of the actors, can you talk about making that transition, what it was like for you?
For myself, it was the first time. I'd ever been part of an audition for some live studio stuff, but the first time I've ever been a part of it. So for me, it was an amazing experience to kind of be able to go back to what I studied in theater and actually get paid for it. That was, it's the closest the two really ever get, and the electricity, the energy that you get from the audience, I don't think you can find anywhere in this business, to be honest with you.
It was my first time too doing anything live. I had to do theater, and I always thought even when I was modeling like runway, it was just weird and all these people staring at you, And so it was the part that I was, the most nervous about. But the first time you hear them laugh at you and what you're doing and the jokes that were written, it makes you feel so great, and it heightens everyone's performance, and it's just so fun. I can't explain it other way. It's so much fun.
It was a bit different for me because I come from a stand-up background, so I'm used to talking to audiences directly with my words, but thankfully Andrew writes some pretty good words as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't really laugh at you then though either, did they?
Fair.
And if they didn't laugh, you just add them.
Great.
And for Andrew, you guys got some great guest stars in the first season. I was wondering if you wrote a role with anyone in mind, or did you write the role and then they came to you?
Well, it's actually both. Very rarely, actually ever in my career, when I wrote the part that Eugene Levy played, I wrote it with him in mind. I'm just an enormous fan. And it was nerve-wracking and exciting to actually have the guy you wrote it for sitting in front of you saying those lines was great. And then when he looks at you and says, would you like me to do it differently? And you go, no, just do that. In terms of Pam, we wanted to have a guest star on the show, and somebody had brought up the idea of Pam Anderson because she's from Vancouver. And I just loved the idea, and so the writers and I came up with a role that was fun, that we hoped she would like, and then we pitched it to her. So it was a bit...
Andrew, you say before about maybe there not being a difference between Canadian and US audiences. Over the years, though, has the nature of how we make a sitcom changed? Do you have to hit different notes now than you did maybe 10 years ago? I think the world has changed, so has your audience changed in that regard?
I think, yeah. I think, if you go back 15, 20 years and you go watch an episode of Cheers, it's slow. And they allowed you to have less jokes and more character and build. But I think the world's gotten frenetic. Certainly with shows like Malcolm in the Middle, in Arrested Development, the world is quicker. And so you don't have as much, you need to be quicker and faster and funnier, I think, than you had to back then.
Just to follow on that, in attending your show live at a taping, and recently I went down to Spun Out, doing similar fourth camera here in Toronto. both shows, you do 2 takes, and the second one, different lines, different
Right.
read, almost, quite different. Is that a recent phenomenon? Was that happening 15 years ago?
No, that always happened.
It did.
Always, yeah. You just never know what's going to work and what's not going to work. And it doesn't matter how many theories you have, there's always a joke that I'm convinced is going to bring the house down, and it's silence. And so you have to very quickly, and that's been going on since the Dick Van Dyke Show. You just don't know. And then there are times where there are jokes you go, well, we better have something ready because this one sucks. It makes a lot of sense.
Do you have any idea in your head? Do you end up generally taking that first take, or do you guys take the second? Is there any difference?
There is no difference. I will say, though, that by and large, I try to trust what's written because it's been worked over the most and has the most thought. So, more often than not, I think we probably do take it as written, but not always.
For any of the actors, again, I was just wondering if you had any personal stories of meeting a significant other's family and it going a little bit awry.
Is that because you've never had a significant other, or?
Pretty much.
I'm trying to.
No, actually, I'm pretty
Moms love
smooth
me.
sailing on this.
Yeah,
on this
I
yeah.
crush parents.
Yeah, like, people love us in real life, I guess. I don't really know. Maybe